Welcome to the Vet S.O.S podcast. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline. Vet S.O.S is brought to you by the Who You Know Network, and we're proud members of the Parade Deck community. Today, we're sitting down with Michael G. Harris, president of Mu Beta Phi Military Fraternity, Inc. Looking forward to hearing about his organization, how they're supporting our veteran community. As always, I'm here with Keith. Keith, how you doing today, brother?
Another beautiful day, another beautiful dollar. How you doing?
I wish I was getting paid like you, apparently. I need
Right?
to talk to whoever's in charge of this thing.
One whole American dollar.
Nice. I'm definitely have to talk to the boss and find out why I'm not getting my dollar. All right, so let's jump into it here. We got Michael with us. He was born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He joined the United States Army after high school. He served from 87 to 91 with tours of duty in Alabama, Germany, Operation Desert Storm Shield, and finally Fort Bliss, Texas, where he was honorably discharged on November 3rd of 1991. He returned to Philadelphia and pursued a 28-year career with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Corrections and Board of Probation and Parole, retiring in 2019. He currently holds the position of International President of the Mu Beta Phi Military Fraternity, an organization he joined in fall of 2018 and has held several different positions in his local chapter, including president, as well as a national position, international first vice president, prior to being elected to his current position. Fantastic. Michael, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. I want to thank you for having me, and I look forward to a great conversation.
Outstanding. So let's jump into the transition piece first. You transitioned back in 91. So tell us how that went. What resources may or may not have been available, and how that whole process went for you.
Transition. While I think hindsight is 2020. Knowing, like, if I had known a lot of stuff that I know now, leaving the military, coming into civilian life, I think the transition would have been a whole lot easier. Transition in 91, it didn't, when you left the military, it didn't really provide you with a lot of information on what you were, what you could do, what you may be entitled to, where to go for resources. It just wasn't there, so my transition, thankfully for me, was easier because my father is a Marine. My uncle served in the Army. My other uncle served in the Air Force. My grandfather served in the Navy. So I had those resources family-wise that could point me in the right direction. And my father and uncle were the ones that pushed me towards the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania as a state employee, because they were really one of those employees that look for veterans, because we have that label, like, we're on time, we know how to follow directions, we can take orders, we take the initiative. And it worked out for me. But again, being a veteran, leaving, if I didn't have my father and uncle and those guys there that had already been through the experience of transition, I think it would have been a lot more difficult for me to get from the military to civilian life.
That's a fantastic point. Because my dad retired 94, I think it was. Mm-hmm. And he was amazed when I told him about all the resources that I had available to me. It just wasn't there for him. And so that's huge. Having that family history of service definitely helps in the long run there. So, all right. So tell us about this fraternity, this organization here.
Well, Mu Beta Phi was, it was organized in 2017 by our founders, Dr. Gary Amons, Clifton Powell, and Darren Coney. All the way, Dr. Gary Amons is a 22-year U.S. Navy vet. Clifton Powell is a 20-year Army vet, and Darren Coney is a 20-year, U.S. Air Force vet. And they decided that there needed to be some kind of organization to help with transition of military service members to civilian life, which with their target being, veteran homelessness. Because I think through their own research, they found that a lot of times when vets leave the military, not everybody has, again, the resource that I have family support-wise, and they come out and they're dealing with not just the physical setbacks, but the mental setbacks that go along with it. It's very difficult for a person to do 20 years of service in one structured environment and then be asked to leave that environment and then be placed in some place where there is no guidance or instruction. And sometimes they lose sight of that. And those guys got together and said, we need to provide some kind of avenue for them. And they created Mu Beta Phi with that intention. And then also the fact that they believe the ongoing continued brotherhood of military personnel is something that could be even more supportive. Because no matter what branch of the military you served in, we speak a certain language. We talk a certain talk. We walk a certain walk that only us as military people and veterans can really, truly understand. The conversations that we have as a group, a civilian person looks at like, what are they talking about? But it's that language that we speak. And I think that was the basis of it to, provide that continued brotherhood after you got out and help you with that transition, because it made it a lot easier when you can work with and be part of gentlemen that were just like you and are going through and can provide you extra resources from their own experiences.
That's fantastic. And Keith, we talk about it all the time, finding that organization that you can be a part of, something in the community that you can be involved with, get you out of the house, stop the isolationism. I mean, it sounds like a fantastic organization.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I admittedly, shamefully, I guess you could say, haven't even heard of it yet. So I'm kind of curious. Like, it's a nationwide program. It sounds like. Where are you folks located physically? Like, where are your physical locations at?
Oh, right now, and due to a lot of hard work and commitment from the members that we have, we are currently in 20. We have 21 chapters throughout the United States. They're mostly confined to the East Coast and Midwest. We have 3 chapters out west, 1 in Vegas and 2 in California. And it wasn't easy to get there. It took a lot of commitment, dedication, and I give credit to those members that came on to that stepped up to decide, hey, I want to start a chapter in my area. And that's what really drives us. And it's doing so well that we are really in the process now of starting the chapter internationally in Germany, because we have one of our members there that is now getting ready to open the chapter there. So, we're progressing well. We're young, at 7 years. So again, that's probably why you haven't heard of us, but we keep trying to push that information out there because, I truly believe that we are an organization that can be of some source to veterans, even if it's not, as far as like helping you with the, finding benefits and resources, the overall brotherhood itself.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean mentioned something that's really right on point to get you from that isolation of staying, away. When I can open the doors for you to be with, gentlemen like you that are like-minded, that have the same goals, I think it opens up doors for you so you don't have to sit at home and wonder. An idle mind is the devil's playground. So we know, we as veterans know what that experience is like, especially with, we have veteran suicide, and it comes from just being, idle and not having something that you can put your hands on and build with. So 21 courts, even showing the door is always open for you, gentlemen. Applications are always there, and we love to have, gentlemen that want to push, our like-mindedness for what we want to do for our veteran community.
I think we got a theme going today. That's the second time we've heard Devil's Playground.
I know, right? Yeah. And I love the concept because it's admittedly, right, from what I'm hearing, it's not maybe all that different than some other organizations out there, i.e. VFW, American Legion. But first of all, the fact that, in 7 short years, 21 locations is no small feat. And I already get the sense that I'm a lifetime member of the VFW. I can go into a lodge and I'm just another person. I mean, granted, we're all friends. There's camaraderie and stuff, but I already get the sense from you that you walk into one of these, the Mu Beta Phi locations, it's going to be a little bit more intimate. It's going to be a little bit more one-on-one, like, hey, how don't just belly up at the bar and grab a beer. How can we actually be of assistance and support to you? Am I hitting the nail at all on the head?
And you're hitting it right on the head. I tell people, I say, when they ask, I say, what makes you any different than the VFW? I said, well, it's exactly what you said, Keith. It's more intimate. And I give you this prime example. If I'm from Philadelphia, so if I leave Philadelphia and I go into our group chat and I say to the guys, hey, I'm going to be in Jacksonville, Florida on this Friday. The response I get is, well, where are you staying at? How long are you going to be here? When do you want to do dinner? And what you'll find, those guys will either They'll meet you at the airport to pick you up. They'll meet you at the hotel to pick you up. They'll schedule some kind of event for you to have that fellowship. And you don't have to know that particular member, personally, for them to reach out to you and say, listen, we got you while you're down here. Hey, is there anything we can do for you while you're here? Are you here for, family reasons? Is there something going on that we need to reach out to people for you for? And I think that's what really makes a difference. Like I said, you just don't belly up to the bar and, you have a conversation for a couple hours. These guys are going to be there with you for the entire time that you're there. And that's been an ongoing theme for our members that, you put the message in there. This is where I'm going to be at. Is there anybody in that area? And the responses just fire off like, yeah, we got you. What time do you come in? Hey, let's schedule this. Let's do that. Let's talk. Let's just hang out, And I really believe that is one of the biggest difference between Mu Beta Phi and probably any other organization that you're part of. And that's not to take anything away from them, because the VFW, the American Legions, they are the foundation for which organizations like Mu Beta Phi are built on because of that membership. So that's a blueprint for us to get here. We just decided to expand on it a little further.
That's such a great point. And I love the fact that you literally could just post something like that. And next thing you know, people are, jumping all over it, trying to make sure, one, everything's good, but two, hey, how can we support? So I mean, I got a million questions, because like Keith, I didn't know much about this organization until we first talked, and Gregory pointed me out to you guys. But two questions that really come to mind are, one, if someone's interested in starting a chapter, how would they go about doing something like that? And then two, tell us about the whole application process, who's eligible, how that works.
Well, let's start with the application process. Application process is fairly simple. You just have to be, a military person that served at least 2 years. You were honorably discharged, and you have no criminal, record of, let's say any kind of violence or something like that. And and you just go through the process. We make it very simple because we really don't want to, try to make the qualification something where it's impossible to join. We want to know that you served your country for that time. You're honorably discharged. It speaks volumes about who you are. Sometimes we have, certain members that come along that may have a general discharge for other reasons, whether it be medical, mental, or anything like that. And those are ones that we have to give that opportunity to too, because if we can change them or change the way they feel, then we're doing what we're supposed to do. So the application process is simple. You do the $25 application fee. We do our due diligence and we do an interview process. And then there's a membership portion that covers what we call your intake package, which allows you to get, your certificate and the Pell pen and different jacket and so forth. So, and it really makes you part of the family, that process there. And then we go through our 6 weeks of training program. The other question was, I'm sorry, I get so caught up, I forget sometimes.
I love the passion, brother. Love it. If someone's interested in starting a chapter, so like, I mean, say you may have a chapter in San Diego, but say someone in San Diego wants to start a chapter. Maybe they're not even a member yet, or they're like, hey, we need to have this here. How's that whole process work?
Oh, well, first one, they do have to be a member.
Right.
And usually what we have is those members that want to start a chapter, we ask they at least be a member for about a year. And that allows them an opportunity to get to know how the organization itself functions.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, those members are already attached to a chapter, and they get to see the function of the chapter. They get to understand the hierarchy and the responsibility. So then if they want to get a chapter, say, I'll give you a prime example. In North Carolina, it's very big. So we have one chapter that's on, let's say, the north side of North Carolina. Now we just started another chapter that's on the south side, which makes it more convenient for about 12 to 15 members that live in that area. And they go through the process. You have to have your basic leadership, which is your president, your vice president, your treasurer, your secretary, your top 5, and they start the process wrong. We call them the chartering members. So they go through, they establish a bank account, they establish their EIN for nonprofit, they start the process for a local nonprofit so they can benefit from the state's, funding. And then we just go through the process. It usually takes about a year. And then what we do is that when we get to our national summits or our national leadership conference, we award them with a official charter as long as they've met all the qualifications come up. Sometimes it takes a little longer because some areas are a little bit more spread out and dense, so you got to work a little harder to get the proper things in place and the membership to grow. But once, like I said, over 7 years, 21 chapters, like I said, it moves fast and it goes. And that, again, that's a credit to the members and their motivation to want to spread the word about Mu Beta Phi and get that chapter in their area where they can benefit from it, and then let people know where we are and who we are.
Yeah, it sounds like a great organization. And Keith, we're going to start talking some programs here, and their first program that I want to talk about, it's got your word right in the middle of it.
Absolutely. Mentorship. That's what it's all about. So before though, admittedly, I just did a quick Google. So the 7 cities, Royal Court is in my AO because I'm in Virginia Beach, but that's in Hampton, brother. I don't know how familiar you are with Hampton Roads, but that's on the other side of that tunnel. We're gonna have to start a chapter on the south side, so we'll talk about that. Okay. I ain't going through that tunnel to Hampton. I love y'all.
I did. Our founder, he's down there. He lives in Suffolk. So
well, shoot, he's right down the road from me. Then we'll talk about doing something to avoid that tunnel every now and again.
Okay.
But yeah, so tell us about the Mighty Warriors Mentorship Program, because I'm all about the mentorship piece, and I'm really excited to learn about this.
That's one of the programs that we are most proud of. That was an initiative created by our founder Clifton Powell. He really wanted. He initially came up with the idea and wanted to target the dependence of deployed service members. So 2017, it was right in the middle of the campaign, Afghanistan, Iraq, and we had our members were transitioning back and forth, and he came with the idea that he saw that a lot of times the mothers and fathers would transition and the kids were left behind to be with whoever, and they didn't have that that guidance and mentorship. So he thought it would be a good idea if the service members that were here in our organization could provide that mentorship to those young men at the time, and to not teach them just the simple things of mentorship, but the more the things about being a young man and being a dependent in military. So we've guided them through things of how to balance a checkbook, how to do finances, how to tie a tie. Some of our courts teach the guys how to change a tire, change oil, the basic things that we know that, our fathers probably taught us as kids that they're not getting. And it's a tough transition for military dependent children when their parents go away, but when you got somebody that can step in, that's been a friend of your mother and father and someone you can trust, it's good to be able to provide that mentorship. Now, what started to happen was, as our chapter started to grow in different areas, not every chapter is near a military base. So what started to happen was that a lot of the chapters, the one here in Philadelphia in particular, decided, okay, so how do we reach the young men? Well, we reached out to a local school and adopted the school to do the mentorship for their young men. And the overwhelming response that we got from it, not just from the school, I'm talking about the young men, for what we did for them, was, one that they could build off of. And the kids, that they love it. They love it. They love being taught. A lot of kids didn't know how to tie a tie. They don't know how to put a suit on. They didn't know how to change a tire. You teach them, how to speak, properly, how to look a man in the eye when you shake his hand. All those little things that we take for granted, as and it's good. And then as a reward, we usually try to take them to different places so they can experience something. We did in Philadelphia. We took these guys to a basketball game, the 76ers. And believe it or not, of the 15 kids that we had, 12 of them had never even been to a basketball game. Wow. And they're middle school kids at this time. And they were so appreciative and everything that they couldn't wait to do it again. And now a lot of them are looking forward to being a mentor for the next class coming along. So we're trying to build, something. And it's funny because now a lot of them say, oh, I want to join the military now. I want to do, and they're set, the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that's already putting that in their mind. And I think that's like the main goal, to try to get those kids on a direction away from an area of, destruction and violence, and point them somewhere where they can be more constructive and appreciative and know that, their life means something and they are better than what, people may perceive them to be despite their disadvantages.
Man, you tugged on so many strings right there.
Right.
Looking somebody in the eye, shaking their hand. I mean, with this generation, I mean, even my own kids, it's like, boy, stand up and look them in the eye.
And with mentorship, it's the small things. It's really not the grandiose things. It's really the small things that really make the change, because they don't know. They don't know what a firm handshake means from one man to the other. They don't know what having a conversation to look a man in the eye is, or the proper wear of a tie and how you look and how the first impression of appearance and what that means. So, and they take it because now, they like, yes, sir, no, sir, and it's a change. How long it lasts, I hope it lasts as a lifetime. But if we can get one or two, then I think we've accomplished a whole lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just planting that seed can be so critical. And I just have to chuckle because, when I retired from the Army, 22 years and some change, like my first primary job was at Wells Fargo, suit and tie. I didn't know how to tie a tie I had the half Windsor that we always did in the military, but like full Windsor and all, and then color coordinating. Like my wife dressed me for like 2 to 3 months when I first got out. Like she picked out my clothes. I had to learn from her, like how to color coordinate. So I get it. Like even not just these kids, some of us adults are even like, because, I joined at 17 right out of high school, So yeah, all I knew was the military for 22 years. And,
right. Absolutely.
So where I got told what to wear and how to wear it and everything else. So, nah, man, I'm loving this program. It's getting me riled up. So now, the Herculean Effort Program, what is that? Is that similar, different, or what's that all about?
No, well, now the Herculean Effort, that was more the idea of Dr. Amos, one of the founders too. That one was particularly structured to focus on eradicating veteran homelessness. So, we try to do a study of it, and United States has about you figure like 70,000 veterans, across the country, and out of those veterans, more than about 50 to 60% are homeless. Larger population in probably the Los Angeles area, and the problem is that there was nothing that was targeted towards eradicating veteran homelessness. And when you really think about it, you never hear people talk about it. You hear them talk about homelessness and they just use it as a blanket statement. But no one ever talks about the veteran homeless and how the veteran wind up there. And the veteran wind up there because, again, the transition was poor. The mental health issues wasn't addressed.
Yep.
The substance abuse issues hadn't been addressed. And then the physical part hadn't been addressed. And those guys leave the military, and sometimes they leave the military without nothing, the knowledge or the finances. And they go right there. But being military personnel, we know how to survive in almost any extreme situation. And they make do with what they have, and they do what they do. And we come to find out that the homeless population, a majority of them are veterans. Those guys, I tell people, those guys that you pass by every now and then in the city, maybe someone that served your country, you just don't know it. And we stop to talk to we find out that it's a plethora of veterans there. So his plan was, okay, we're going to start targeting that population. We're going to look to those encampments. We're going to find the veterans that we can find. We're going to try to find some way to be able to resource some contact information and give them to them. We're going to refer them to the VA. We're going to make the VA give these people assistance. We're going to reach out to other organizations that may be able to do something with and get them started. So we're right now in that part of being the middleman, where we connect them to other organizations that are more stable and have those resources. Eventually, I hope during my time as president that we can get something where we can be more of a resource and an outreach for those homeless veterans. But for right now, we're gonna be the man in the middle, and we're gonna speak for them as much as possible and provide them what we can, whether we provide them a meal every night or once a month or once a week, and resources. And we do here in Philadelphia, we feed the homeless every Tuesday from 6:30 to 8. In Las Vegas, they feed them every Thursday. Texas, they do the same thing. And then we reach out to different organizations that are willing to support our goals with coats, hats, all kinds of, kits and different things like that. I got a shipment coming in on Monday of 500 toiletry kits,
Nice.
that I'm gonna give out, that we're gonna give out to the homeless veterans and disabled veterans, within the tri-state area here between Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. And if I got to, I'm gonna try to ship some down to some of our other chapters so they can do the same thing also. But we're a work in progress, and our Herculean Effort, our Mighty Warrior programs, we put all we can into those because, those are the ones that we believe are the ones that are most in need at this time.
Yeah.
I have to give kudos, and I forget the name of the gentleman you said that this was his effort, but what a name, because the homelessness problem truly is going to take a Herculean effort, and I mean that's just fantastic branding.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not what they were after, but it's just that fits that problem set.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida, so I mean our homelessness problem, it's huge, and we get to see it firsthand. And I've worked with a couple organizations here locally to try to help with the homelessness problem. And I just applaud you guys for what you're trying to do here and the things you're doing in the community. We're getting close to the end. Is there anything else specifically about the organization that you want people to know?
Just that, we just trying to make it better. We're trying to make life better, for our veterans, our military service members, and our local communities. I always go with the theory that, we can help our veteran community, but sometimes, we have to help our local community too, because our veterans are part of that community. And they may not be directly affected by the different things of homeless, but there are some veterans in the local community that don't eat every day or may not have the clothing. There are families, mothers and fathers and children that are struggling to make it and they don't know where to go. And if Mu Beta Phi can be a catalyst to help them in whatever way it be, putting them in touch with the right people, providing them something, even for a day, that's what we want to do. Mu Beta Phi stands, tall with our veterans, our military service members that are currently serving, and any like-minded organization that wants to do things that will better our veteran and local community and help with our youth in the community. I invite you, gentlemen, that at any time, please come, out and visit, whatever chapter is in your area. You can let me know and let them know. And so you can come and see. I always say, you got to see it firsthand in order to really appreciate what it is that we do. I think it's no better message than for you to see it and go, wow, this is truly what, he said it is. And I stand by my word. And I trust me, you would not be disappointed if you decide to come out and take a look for yourself.
I think that deserves that. We haven't dropped a bomb in a while, man. You just dropped the mic,
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. And the challenge, so unfortunately, we are at time and it breaks my heart because I could keep going on about this for easily another episode.
Oh, me
Maybe
too.
We need to bring you back.
Hey,
but
hey, listen, I'll be glad to come back. I love what this organization is about.
Yeah. And it shows, right? And from the very beginning of the episode, I'm like, I sensed your heart. I sensed it, and it's the heart of the organization, right? I think, first of all, you're a great representative of the organization's heart. But, for those of us that are listening, watching, tuning in, if this didn't tug on your heart, or even be like, oh my gosh, I could use this service, then you're heartless. But anyway, for those that it did speak to, Michael, how can they reach out to you and or the organization to learn more or support or partake in its services?
Hey, the best way to get in touch with us is come through our website, www.mbphikings2017.org. You can contact us. We have a contact section in there, application section, and I push the website because it has a plethora of information for you that gives you great insight into what the organization is. And as soon as you contact us, we'll be right back in touch with you quickly. We do it the military way.
Exactly. Yeah. And just one more time, that website phonetically, because some people are listening and may not be able to see the screen, but it's Mike Bravo Papa Hotel India sorry, I'm screwing it up. Those letters.
Mike Bravo Papa Hotel India, Kilo India,
Kings, November, that's it.
Golf Sierra 2017.org.
There we go. Sorry, I remember I forgot the King's part. I was like, there's more to it.
It's quite
But
all right.
now it's ingrained in everybody's head. Michael, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show, my man. Like seriously, I'm going to check you all out. This sounds like an amazing organization, and I'd like to see how I might be able to partake and support it as well. So thank you so much for being on the show, and for everyone on behalf of the Vet S.O.S family, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Vet S.O.S is growing and spreading its wings, much like the Kings here. You can follow us on all the social media platforms. Make sure to check us out on all 3 of our shows and follow and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts from. We're on YouTube, Reach Across America Radio, Parade Deck, and all your other favorite podcast platforms. And remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline.